Hey, what's your favorite sales quote? I've got 5 for you today. Hey there, Enterprisers. What's good? It's Jason Lago here again with Always Enterprise. And in this video, I want to share with you some classic sales quotes to help you close more business. That's right. We're talking about classic sales quotes to help you close more business. Now, if you've been in business for any amount of time, or if you've been a professional who's in the sales and marketing, relationship management game, odds are you have heard some of these popular sayings before. It seems like whether you're in corporate America, whether you're striving to be a leader in any field, you're going to come across some personal development or some success training material that usually has some form of success quotes and popular quotes and other sayings that really help you develop as a person, but they almost represent a staple of training, right? Of leadership training, as it were. And me personally, being in sales all of my life, basically, right, from corporate America as a young person starting in sales at an entry-level sales job, all the way to I worked for one of the largest banks in the world, I continued to find myself with a ton of different sales quotes always around me in every single training and every single betterment or development class. And it's easy to look at that and kind of get stale, right? It's easy to look at that, all those sales quotes, and just be like, okay, this is more stuff that I don't have to remember, more canned sales training. When in truth, there's actually quite a few gems out there that really, if you absorb it and let them impact you, they can really help you in terms of getting a clear picture as to ways that you can become more successful in your business. So today I want to give you some of my favorite ones, 5 to be specific, top 5 favorite of mine that have really helped me apply towards what I'm doing now in my own online business. Hopefully they help you out as well. Let's get started. Number 1, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. You miss 100% of the shots you never take. Now, obviously, that has to do with getting started, right? You've probably heard that. I'm almost certain you've heard that before. But what a great reminder, right? If you never get started, if you never take your shot, if you never take the plunge, if you never take the jump, right, you never have the opportunity to soar and fly. Now, being in the online business space, especially in the home-based business, whether you're talking about affiliate marketing or multi-level marketing, you're definitely going to hear this, but it's so applicable not only to this, but also just generally speaking in life. If you're not afraid, obviously you are going to be afraid, but if you're not willing to take the risk, if you're not willing to take the jump, then again, you'll never find yourself with the parachute open, as they say, or with the wings that fly open so that you can go ahead and start soaring and becoming successful, right? So it's one thing to want to do something, to want greater things for yourself, to want success, to want wealth, but obviously it's a different thing to take action, all right? So if you don't take the shot, you'll never make the shot. What a great reminder. Number 2, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Again, what a great common sense, practical reminder. How powerful it is, right? Obviously, the biggest hurdle for everyone is just getting started, which we kind of talked about in the last point. But now it's more about your aim, right? If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. So in other words, you need to have a goal. You need to have a target. You need to have a focus. And you don't obtain focus. You don't generate focus unless you know what you're aiming for, unless you have a definitive target. And I think this is great because you need to go ahead and make sure that you have clearly defined goals as to what success looks like for you. So often now when I'm getting started or working with someone who's getting started in the business, in their particular business, I always ask them what their goals are, what their dreams are. And a lot of the times, their answers are very generalized. They say things like, well, I want to become successful. I want to become rich. I want to make more money. I want to become financially independent. My question is always, okay, what does that look like, right? What does that mean? Because when you have a clear defined goal, then one thing that does is forces you to go ahead and think about and list the other smaller goals that lead you up to that large jackpot, So it's very, very important for you to have a clearly defined goal and understand what is it that you're aiming for. If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. Number 3, the early bird gets the worm. The early bird gets the worm, right? I love this saying, and I think it's probably one of the older sayings we've ever heard. Me personally, when I was first heard this, had nothing to do with business. It was more about getting up and getting started and getting out of bed, things like that. I think that's the case for a lot of young people, but it's absolutely applicable for business, and if we're honestly speaking, for the rest of your life as well, right? It's about rising early and getting started quickly, right? It's about being there, being first, right? You've heard of first mover's advantage. That's what I think this applies to, right? The early early bird gets the worm. This is ever so important when you consider that in your particular industry, whether you're in business for yourself or with other people, you have teammates, you're not the only one doing your thing. You're not the only one who's vying for the attention of your customers. You're not the only one. So obviously you can talk about things like being how to be different and how to set yourself apart. But one surefire way to do that is to be first. Right? Is to be the very first one out there. So if that means you have to rise a little bit early so you can do it, go ahead and do that. But I would caution you against any mentality that suggests that there's no urgency in what you want to do, right? Go ahead and get out there and make it happen, okay? When we were prospecting, back in my last job in the commercial banking sector, when we were prospecting for new businesses and trying to bring over all of their assets from their bank to our current bank, a lot of the times when I would go and cold call on a company, a lot of the times they would say, thank you very much. You're the first person to come see us, right? You're the first person to come knock to our door. There is such an advantage in being the first mover, right? So keep that in mind as you're going about your business. The early bird gets the worm. Number 4, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. I don't know what it is about that saying, but it always makes me laugh and chuckle just a little bit, right? I can't help but grin when I think about that. And it sounds very auto-mechanical, right? But it has very little to do with that, at least in this context. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. In other words, the one who's making the most noise, the one who's speaking, the one who's attracting the most attention, that's the one who's going to get rewarded, right? A lot of the times when I'm working with a lot of young entrepreneurs or fledgling entrepreneurs, I should say, there's so many instances I can recall where a lot of them are saying, okay, I've been in the business for a while, I signed up a long time ago or I got started, and how come I'm not getting the traction that I want? How come I'm not getting the sales? How come I'm not getting the leads that I want? And I always ask them, okay, well, what are your activities? What exactly are you doing to draw attention to yourself? Because that's exactly where we're at in this day and time. Obviously, it goes without saying that we're in the information age. A lot of people will go ahead and laud that and taunt that, and they're absolutely right, which is why I don't like to consider it anymore, because I feel like it's a given. What I like to focus on when I'm teaching and coaching a lot of my clients and students is very simply that we are in the attention age more than anything else. In this day and time, it is so competitive with regards to your attention. Everyone is trying to get the attention because the attention usually is what drives the income. So in other words, what are you doing to draw attention to yourself? I have to remind people too that we are in the marketing business, and marketing is all about getting the attention. So what is it that you're doing to draw attention to yourself? Now, obviously, I need to go ahead and clarify that we need to make sure that the attention we're drawing is the right kind of attention, right? You don't want to be drawing the attention of just anyone. It has to be targeted, right? It has to be specific. There has to be things like message to market match, and there has to be congruency when it comes to crafting our offers. I understand all that. But at the end of the day, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you're not calling attention to yourself in your marketing efforts, if you're not calling the attention and commanding the attention, you'll never have influence. And if you never have that, then you likely will never have income, at least not to the level that you want. Number 5, don't make sales, make customers. Don't make sales, make customers. Now, where the last 4 sayings were kind of fun to hear, this is more brass tacks, a little bit more refined, but it's ever so true, right? Don't focus on just getting sales. Focus on making and acquiring customers, right? Making and acquiring customers, that's where it's at. The difference between the two is actually very simple. One focuses on the product, on moving the product. That's what a sale is. It's when you move a product in exchange for income. One focuses on the product, whereas the other focuses on the person. One is geared towards the transaction, and the other one is geared towards a relationship with the person. It's very important to remember this, because you might get a sale, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you've acquired a customer. Because if you get a sale, if you just happen to land it right and hit it, everything falls in alignment. When someone buys something from you, sure, there's a sale that has occurred, right? But that sale has a high chance of return, of churn, and things like that, cancellation. Whereas if you have focused properly on winning the heart and the mind and the vote, as it were, and the attention of the consumer, the person, if you have that, then you have nothing to worry about, at least nowhere near as much, because a sale will follow, and likely and hopefully more sales will follow, subsequent sales and referral sales will come, and so this is what generates repeat business, and ultimately that's going to keep you in business for a very long amount of time. So don't worry about just the sales. Focus on acquiring a customer, and the sales will come. And again, like I said, hopefully you'll get more and more of those as the days go on. There you have it, my friends. Those are 5 of my top favorite sales quotes that will hopefully help you in conjuring up and closing more business. I trust this was helpful. Let me know in the comments below which one of these is your favorite. Also, feel free to drop in the comments below one of your favorite sales quotes or business motivation lines that maybe I didn't list here. Make sure that you give me a like and a comment. Obviously, make sure that you subscribe. That's the most important thing. And hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss out on any more hot new content that I got coming down the pipe just for you. This is Jason Ligo with Always Enterprise. I'll see you next time. Take care.